All right. Well, thank you all for joining us. We have a few people live here in our Zoom meeting, and we're live on Facebook, hopefully. We're a little rusty. We were doing a ton of virtual events last year, and this is kind of our first jump back into the virtual world. Super happy to be able to talk to you about a brand new event that we're kicking off this year. It is going to be the On-Farm Intensive with Zimmer Ag, and it's going to be held in July. And we have two sessions of the same event. They will be held on the 16th and 17th. Then we have a little break, and then we'll do another session on the 19th and 20th of July. So they're the same exact event, just held twice, so we can capture as many folks as we can. And it's going to be held in Lone Rock, Wisconsin. It's on Gary Zimmer's farm, and Sarah will tell a little bit more about him. He's a bit of a legend in our world, so we are really excited to be able to do this. It's the first time ever we've done an on-farm intensive for AcresUSA, at least in recent history. Haven't been here all of 50 years. So yeah, anyway, my name is Rachel Wobiter. I'm event manager here at Acres, and I am joined with my colleague.
Hey, this is Sarah. I'm head of events for AcresUSA. And again, just to reiterate what Rachel's saying, we're super excited for this event. Not only is it going to be awesome, but it's taught by some awesome folks. So can't wait to dig in a little more on this.
Awesome. So yeah, we just have kind of a series of questions we thought you would all be interested in learning about. So we'll go through all those. And then, like I said before, people who are live with us here on Zoom, just send us a chat questions. And then if you're on Facebook, we do have someone keeping an eye on those questions too. So feel free to ask us questions on Facebook. So we will go ahead and get started. I'm going to let you know just some nuts and bolts, even though I just did. Again, we're here today to talk about our first intensive ever. It's called the On-Farm Intensive with Zimmer Ag. We have two events. It's on the 16th and 17th and the 19th and 20th of July of this year. And it's going to be in Lone Rock, Wisconsin. And if you haven't already been to the website, you can go learn everything you need to know there. It's OnFarm, AcresUSA.com. So that's where you can learn everything about that. And our first question, very generic, Sarah, what is the On-Farm Intensive with Gary Zimmer? Since we haven't done one, what is that all about?
Sure. Yeah. And so this is really meant to bring all of the experiences that we know are so important for teaching to light. So we're going to have that in person on the farm and operating commercial farm experience here. So this is 2 days where workshops where a balance between kind of field walks and walking around the farm and talking at specific points in the farm about certain topics are combined with some presentations. And it's just really going to cover best practices for cover crops, soil testing, field preparation, equipment and tillage, weed and pest management, fertilizer programs, integrating livestock into your operation, and much more. You'll walk away. The point of this is to walk away with clear next steps to improve your land's value and potential. And so the idea is that this is really something for all types of farmers. So whether you've been farming for decades or whether you're new to farming, this is about taking your own operation, looking at the operation we're going to be visiting, and then applying it to your own operation. What can we learn from that, and how can you make your operation better?
Yes. Awesome. So yeah, like she said, it's 2 full days of very experiential learning right on the farm, which is pretty unique for us. So the next question I had was, how does this differ from the other kinds of AcresUSA events that we've hosted?
Yeah, I would say we definitely have done virtual now. Virtual is part of our toolbox. We definitely have our annual conference, our EcoAg conference, which will be in person in Cincinnati this year. And then we also, we're all excited to get back to in person. And then we have done intensives in the past, but nothing on farm like this. So this is going to be hands-on. It's going to be interactive, and it's going to be outside, which is really exciting. So all of those are not only awesome in and of themselves, but you put them all together with an amazing farm, some incredible instructors and a group of your farming peers, and you have this ideal situation for learning. You're going to learn from the land, you're going to learn from Gary and Leilani and the other speakers we have, and you're also going to learn from others in attendance. And so I would guess you will also walk away with some great new connections in the sector that will last forever. So just that kind of ideal bundle of an event, I think.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I can't keep thinking about, with farming, there's a bunch of different things that people go to events to learn about. And with farming, we're all going there with, you know your farm, you have very specific situations going on your farm, whether you don't have great water access or, you have certain deficiencies in your soil, you have this very specific formula of what you're working with on your farm. And this intensive is really going to give you that chance to just have a chat with Gary Zimmer and just be like, hey, this is what's going on in my farm. And just be able to get very personalized answers.
Yeah, and I like that. And I think that's interesting the way you put that, because I think it's also going to allow you to look at your farm differently. Like, not only will you be learning these very awesome principles that he has and from the decades of experience that both he and Leilani have, but also how do you look at what you have on your operation and maybe that formula that you have, and how do you say, well, I actually can get a little bit more out of that part of my operation, or I can tweak this and this is how I'll get more of that. So yeah, it'll be an eye opener for sure.
Yeah. All right, so we kind of keep talking about Gary Zimmer. Just wanted a chance to kind of highlight who exactly he is to our community.
Yeah, and I think many people out there probably already know who he is, so this is going to be short, and you could talk about Gary Zimmer for a very, very long time. But I'll just give you kind of the quick roundup, which is he was raised on a Wisconsin dairy farm, and he's a renowned farmer, author, speaker, and biological farming consultant with over 35 years of experience in agriculture. He has helped thousands of farmers to improve their operations, starting with the soil and building to a profitable, successful farming operation. He is author of The Biological Farmer and Advancing Biological Farming, along with his daughter, Leilani, who has 15 years of experience as an ecologist and agronomic educator, and who will also be joining us as an educator in this intensive. Gary is the founder of Midwestern BioAg. He runs Otter Creek Organic Farm together with his family, and he and Leilani have just launched Zimmer Ag Consulting. You can learn more about Zimmer Ag at zimmerag.com. So that's a little tiny glimpse of him. I mean, I will say that Gary Zimmer is a staple at many of our events and at our AcresUSA Ag event each year. I think he's been speaking there for about 30 years. And there's a reason why we ask him back every year, because he just is a wealth of information. And he always has something new that he's working on and something new to teach. So to get 2 days of education with him hands-on on his farm is something truly unique. I'll also just mention that there will be a few other speakers joining us. So Carl Dallefeld, president of Prairie Creek Seed, and Keith Keeley, who is co-executive director of Savannah Institute, will also be teaching alongside Gary and Leilani at this event.
Yep, exactly. There's about 4 different speakers, so get some variety in there, but definitely Gary and Leilani will be the stars of the show. So that's kind of the essence and the content. And we already have a question coming in that we're going to get to. So let's just talk some nuts and bolts. So you're going to either go to the July 16th and 17th event, and then we're just repeating the same content on the 19th and 20th. And so what do you get for your ticket price?
Yeah, I think we kind of already explained that it's 2 full days of experiential learning. So it starts pretty bright and early on day 1, and it goes through, mid to late evening on day 1, and then we have a whole full other day, the next day, of content. We'll have morning coffee and snacks available and lunch both days. And then you'll also have dinner on that day 1, and that will include some networking and some refreshments. And then, of course, I can't say this enough, the experience is about getting to learn from Gary Zimmer for 2 full days and learn on that operation. So that to me is unmatched. I'm super excited to be there myself. So,
yes. Me as well. I'm excited to head back to Midwest. I'm from Iowa, lived there my whole life, have my brother in Wisconsin. It's beautiful this time of year. I don't know where everyone will be joining us from. Of course, we're an international company. But this place is lush. This is a very lush pocket of the Midwest. You can probably see some photos on the website where we're marketing for the event, but it's beautiful. It's going to be a really nice time to be there. A little bit warm. It's definitely, we can definitely get some heat. So, all right. So another question here. Am I going to be sleeping on the farm, or where will I stay that night?
Yeah, unfortunately, camping is not available on the farm at this point, but there is camping available within, I think, 10 miles. It's there's Tower Hill State Park and Governor Dodge State Park. So two options that I think you can find on our website or links to on our website. There are also a number of beautiful rural hotels and motels in the region. And then Madison, the state capital, is also just about an hour away from the farm venue. And then I will say, just in the age that we're in, and I'm just now getting used to this, but also Airbnb is a good option too. You can find some really neat places to stay. So don't forget to check that out as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, those parks are gorgeous. I've definitely been to the Governor Dodge State Park. I think there's a race there that my friends run. So yeah, that's some accommodation options for you. Okay, so we did have a question from Frank, and that's our next question is, how big is this event? You know, we're having 2 events. Is this gonna be thousands of people? What are we talking here?
Yeah. So this is definitely designed to be that more intimate event so that we can get the most out of that learning experience. So we expect to have about 25 to 30 people in each session. So we are going to put a limit on it. We don't want it to be an overwhelming size for the farm and for the experience. We want you to be able to make those nice connections and not be, and get your time in with Gary and the other educators as well. So limited spots available. We do expect that these will sell out. So we do encourage you all to buy tickets early.
Yep, exactly. So yeah, I don't know if you said, but you know, we're thinking like 20 to 30 people. I'm like listening, and then I'm like, wait, did we say that? So yeah, and you know, our next question is going to be just, you know, what about COVID-19? And we're doing this live and in person because we know, and it's outside at a time period where I think things still feel a little uncertain, because we are going to keep it small, and it's going to be a lot easier to control our environment and keep everyone safe. But yeah, what kinds of things would we be doing to help keep the place safe for everyone?
Yeah, it will be definitely a COVID-19 safe event, which means that attendees will be required to follow the current CDC safety guidelines for small events. And so we'll continue to monitor these guidelines as we get closer to the event, and we'll communicate these with our registrants as we get closer so that everybody knows kind of where we are. I mean, that's another thing. We want that intimate learning experience, but also COVID-19 is going to keep it that way too, even if it's allowed to be, you know, more people, which I kind of think it will be at that point in time. We're going to keep it pretty small for that reason too.
Yep, exactly. So, you know, making sure we always have some antibacterial around, and we have plenty of spaces, everyone. And, you know, if we are in a seated area, that we have things spaced out, and kind of just keep track of all those things so everyone feels safe. If masks are still required in these smaller settings, you know, that's something we will want to do when we are going to be close to each other. But a lot of times we want to be spread out. So yeah, just wanted to kind of note that, and this is something we take very seriously and want to make sure everyone stays safe. So that is the COVID update. And then, okay, so we're here in Lone Rock, Wisconsin, which is a tiny little dot. For those of us from the Midwest, everything's tiny. I'm from Iowa. Like, where are you from? I'm like a small town, which is literally every single town in Iowa. So this is a small town in Wisconsin. And it's not too far from Madison, which is super fun place to visit. Lots to do there. Quick mention on the location of the farm. It's actually right next to the Taliesin Frank Lloyd Wright home. I'm a huge Frank Lloyd Wright fan, as was my mom. Shout out to my mom. She probably won't want to come to this event just for that. A gorgeous estate where Frank Lloyd Wright built the Taliesin home, and Gary Zimmer actually does take care of those grounds, and you can like see it from one of the farms that we'll be on. Gary Zimmer has 2 farms, so you'll be able to see both of them. So it's actually got a point of interest right next to it. But if you aren't living in the small areas of Wisconsin and you need to fly in, are there airports nearby?
Yeah, as you mentioned, the Dane County Regional Airport in Madison, it's less than an hour away from the farm. And then we do have a little bit of directions and parking and accommodations information on our website, again, onfarm.acresusa.com. Of course, you can understand that maybe the Zimmers don't want to share the exact address of their farm and with everybody out there. So that information, that specific information will be shared with attendees so they can get those exact driving instructions as we get closer to the event.
Yep. Flown into that airport a few times. It's very accessible and easy. So yeah, that kind of concludes our nuts and bolts questions. We will definitely be trying to do more of these little chats about the event to answer more of your questions. But if anyone else has questions that's in the room with us now, feel free to send us in the chat. My colleague Hannah, who was keeping an eye on Facebook, said someone commented that they love Lush. So my comment about the environment in July in Wisconsin was well received. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to just be, there's just going to be so much activity on the farm at that time, which is going to be great. It'd be a little different scene right now, probably a little muddy. So any other questions? Otherwise, we will wrap up, and feel free to just email us. We can be reached at events@acresusa.com. That's an email address that can come to Sarah and myself. So we really hope this was helpful. And if you have any other questions, please let us know. Otherwise, we will see you on the farm in July. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.